Hi everyone, 감사합니다. This is my first time speaking in Korea, so thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me. So I'm from Linux Foundation. I'm the strategic director of Linux Foundation and also CNCF and Hyperledger. I hear that actually the host has introduced me already. So today I'm talking about. The topic is about why open source. The reason why I picked this topic is because last time when I was in Korea, there are a lot of people actually asking these questions. Why open source? It's not about why I use open source. It's actually why the company should invest in open source, right? So today I'm going to use a story, a cloud-native story, to illustrate the why factor here. So I'm going to talk about three things. One is wide open. The other one is how to create an ecosystem in the open source world, and then also how you can create new value. Not just using it, actually use it as a strategic weapon or strategic effort in your enterprise development. So the importance is open source. Right now, I think everybody knows we're not just inventing by ourselves. In the old days, maybe we write our code by ourselves, but actually right now we use a lot of open source code. So we're actually entering a new phase of software development. So this is the old world, the whole proprietary world. But right now, what we are doing is here. So we use a lot of open source software, and in big data we use a lot of Hadoop. In AI, we use a lot of TensorFlow, for example. And then, Kafka, for the database, or MySQL for the database. And right now in the cloud-native world, we use a lot of Kubernetes, right? I'm actually wearing a Kubernetes T-shirt right here. Okay. So we're using a lot of open source software. It means that if our company is going to be successful, so this is actually the report from the Gartner Group. So in this slide, we talk about the average company. They will just use about 29% open source. But the most successful one, the best-in-class companies, they're using about 80% of open source. But how we can compete with other people? This is the answer. The 20% is actually your competitive advantage. So we're not actually right now using, thank you. You're not using a lot of effort to invent ourselves. We use a lot of open source because this open source effort is globally, right? Your companies and others communities, they're actually doing it for you. So why should I invest a lot of time still in this 80% open source? When I travel around, when I speak around, when I talk to other members, they always have questions. So can I use open source but not contribute back? This is really common questions. The reason is because maybe they think, if I donate back, maybe my competitive advantage will be gone. But it's not the case. So I'm going to introduce a concept called code debt. It means that, for example, if you are using a lot of Linux and you have customized it, you change a little bit, but you don't contribute back, then you have to maintain your code day by day. I have an example for you. So when I talk to some of the companies in Asia, they told me about that. So they need to have about 150, 200 people just to maintain their own Linux kernel because they never contribute back. And the mainstream will not accept their code anymore. So you have to maintain yourself. You use a lot of effort just to maintain the Linux kernel. So by doing it, you lose a chance or opportunity to focus on this 20%, your value-added portion. So, are you ready for open source ecosystem? Are you ready for open source new ways of software development? So I'll give you an example. In the cloud, it all runs actually using open source, right? And the best talent you want to have is open source, guys. Reason why? Because no matter you want to learn where, no matter what you want to learn new technology, for example, AI, you can go to TensorFlow, you can go to GitHub. Kubernetes, cloud native, right? The source code is all available, and it's so easy for them to learn. So the best talent right now is open source developers. And how you can keep those developers, and how you can actually hire them, you have to get in touch with the community. Okay, so the future is open source. Are you ready? So this is the slide that we always use. So without participating in open source, the companies will lag behind, and then without any, it's very hard for them to innovate by themselves. So they're wasting their R&D money to invent something that has been done already. So why open source? I think I have given you an example and answer. And the next thing I want to talk about is ecosystem. How we can build ecosystem. It means everybody will work together, and also everybody will use this kind of technology. This is the example. So what we are trying to do, Linux Foundation, is very simple. We're trying to build up an ecosystem. How? By building a trust platform. Why trust platform? Because we need to have a global community. We need everybody to work together. But how? Why your competitors will work with you? This is because Linux Foundation is a neutral ground that you can work together. To work together to create a fundamental and underlying technologies. Remember the slide I just showed you, right? The 80% open source. So this is actually global effort to build up the 80% for you. But outside this circle, you can still focus on your competitive advantage, which is the 20%. So by creating a trust platform, everybody can work together to create projects. And then we can still focus on the 20% to create our own products, which is actually different with each other. And then in return, we can create profits. Profits gets back to the open source projects. It keeps spinning, spinning, and spinning. The reason why you hear a lot of Kubernetes is because right now, Kubernetes is actually dominate the whole container orchestration world. The reason why? Here, trust. So right now, Linux Foundation is not just Linux. So we create this trust platform and carried it to other area. Security. Let's encrypt cert. It's more than 60% website are using it. Kubernetes, right, in the cloud native world, and also like LF networking, more than 80% telecom operators is using it. And how about the car? Yes, with AGL. And then how about blockchain? We have Hyperledger. These are the things that we create a trust platform so that we can create a lot of underlying technologies to enable the whole industry. Okay, so we have about 100 projects already in Linux Foundation. And maybe you will ask me a question, how I can start a project later? I give you an answer later. So this is a cloud native story. Why open source? So in the old days, we see a lot of physical machines, we see virtual machines, and then OpenStack comes up for the IaaS. And then later on, we talk about PaaS, Cloud Foundry. So Cloud Foundry is also one of the Linux Foundation projects. And then we see Docker, container. And then in the end, we see cloud native, CNCF, and Kubernetes, right? So right now, more than 80% in the cloud, they use Kubernetes. So this is a trend in Google. So apart from Kubernetes, in CNCF, we have a lot of open source projects in here, like open tracing, monitoring, These are the projects that we have, and then we call it umbrella approach. So we have those projects under CNCF umbrella. It's all cloud native related, okay? So these are the members. I'm not trying to say, how many members we have, But I just want to illustrate the word called cooperation. You see a lot of competitors here. Google Cloud, Amazon, Microsoft, Red Hat, IBM Cloud. Why they can work together to create Kubernetes together or other projects in CNCF? Because remember that spinning wheel, we call it trust. So they work together again to create the 80%, but they do have 20% by themselves. And then the other thing is end user. So if you are not participating into the open source world, your end user is doing it right now. eBay, Didi in China, MasterCard, Adidas. These are the companies. They are using Kubernetes, and also they are also part of our member to feedback to a technical oversight committee what they want, what they need in the future. So I really encourage you guys to participate at least the publicly open TSC call. So this is the cloud native trial map. So we illustrate a lot of open source projects you can use. These are the crazy map. So these are all the cloud native technologies. This is actually publicly open. So just get a PowerPoint later. So these are the open source projects and also proprietary projects for cloud native. And we have a website. If you want to search, for example, if you're looking for serverless solution, open source project, proprietary projects, everything is here. So you come here to look for it. And also we have some other, selection criteria, right? So why organizations is using cloud native? I think I don't have to talk about it because you know already. Because multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, cost saving, a lot of good reason, right? But imagine if this is done by one company, how many years we need to have? Maybe forever. So this works because everybody can work together. Otherwise, it's not easy. So how to create new value or continuous growth. This is very important. Why people can work together? This is actually a really important structure in CNCF. So let me give you an example. TOC, Technical Oversight Committee, they approve new projects in CNCF, and they provide technical advice to those open source projects. These are not companies. These are individuals that they are elected because of their contribution. It's not company. So it means not a single company can control these open source projects. Is because the technical capability. Okay? And then we have governing board to promote, to actually control the budget. Because for every open source projects, if you're not promoting it, nobody will know. If you just put your open source project in the GitHub, who will know, what kind of things that you're going to do? And also we have end user community to feedback what they need. Again. So why you need to host open source project in this kind of, neutral platform? Because of this. So because I only have 5 minutes, so let me go more and more faster. So and then to help the end user to select the right Kubernetes products. So we have certified Kubernetes conformance test, which is actually free for their members, and is automatic test. They can put the code up there and run it, self-run. So once the test is okay, they will get the certified Kubernetes logo. It means your product, maybe you have customize it or change it to whatever you want. But if you run the code, if you get the pass yes, it means that your product is compatible with the original open source version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So your end user or yourself will be more comfortable. These are the worldwide 77 certified Kubernetes partners in the world. And then we also have KCSP, which is Certified Service Provider. So we need to provide an answer to the end user. When I look for SI for Kubernetes, what company can I trust? So we create examination, we create some requirements that you need at least 3 Kubernetes certified engineer in your company, at least 3. And you also actually demonstrate your contribution, no matter arranging meetups or code contribution, that you will get a KCSP logo. It means you are a certified service provider. These are the certified KCSP in the world. And this is the exam, CKA, CKAD. And then I want to talk about cognitive con. The reason why I want to talk about is because for every open source project, you need marketing, you need events to gather people together, and also you need to promote your projects. So these are the KubeCon worldwide. So we just had it in China, Shanghai, for about 3,000 people, and then we have about 3 to 4 KubeCon worldwide every year. So this is attendance. So you will see why the Kubernetes is very mature, because a lot of people is using it, and you see a lot of good attendance. In summary, what you can do and how you can make it work for the open source project. We need these 5 elements. One is governance, development process. It must be neutral, and infrastructure, and also IP things. I want to talk about one thing only because I don't have much time. The license. Almost right now, every new project in Linux Foundation, we choose Apache license because we can create a much more friendly license for the enterprise. So it means that you can keep your competitive advantage, but we don't think you will not contribute back, because what I just mentioned about code debt, you will definitely actually contribute back. Okay? So this is a Linux Foundation project with over 100 open source projects. And then these are the things that we're going to help if you host a project. This is a simple diagram that how you can host a project. It's very simple. So if you want to contribute a project in Linux Foundation, you will see, okay, whether it fits under the existing umbrella, for example, CNCF, LFN, or other projects in Linux Foundation. If yes, try the umbrella approach, which is actually under each foundation, like CNCF. If no, just send us email. So, but in more details, you need at least 5 companies to endorse these projects together in order to open a project in Linux Foundation. Okay, at last, one thing, because I see, taking pictures, but all this information is actually in this to-do group. This is actually work for over 100 members, like Facebook, like Google, Huawei. They actually contribute the whole idea how we can leverage what is the best practice of open source management. This is something that is actually in a website. Please go and download it. It's free. Everything is free. Okay, if you want to join CNCF, easy. Just take this one. Thank you very much. Please come to talk to me if you have any question. Thank you.